Before we get started, just please understand that any advice in today's session is of a general nature only and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration. Okay? All right, so let's bring forward what we have on the agenda this week. Let's have a little bit of a think about what happened last week. Last week when we had a chat, we said that possibly the Euro USD was going to be the most volatile one for the week because we had that ECB meeting regarding what they were going to do with their monetary policies. Consequently, what happened was, for those of you who don't know, is they cut interest rates significantly to a negative level and they increased their quantitative easing program, which basically, in simple words, is they acted very aggressively in devaluing their currency. So, why did it go up? That's the biggest question. So initially, at the break of the news, for those who didn't notice, the euro dropped around about 200 pips or something like that, and then it went up by 400. So I got asked, a lot of people asked me this question during the week, so I thought I'd just address it very, very quickly so that everybody understands. Sometimes the market does these crazy things, and there's actually more logic than what we think. But at the time and at the heat of the moment, if you're trying to take advantage of such a movement, if you don't actually understand what the market is expecting and what it basically means, we can end up getting caught on the wrong side of trades. Okay, in essence, the move by the ECB was a very, very positive move from their behalf, saying basically that we're doing this right now because we don't feel we're going to have to do it again for at least a few months' time. And the market had already priced in to a certain extent a decline that they were predicting that the ECB was going to do increase easing and so forth because Mr. Mario Draghi had been speaking about it already. So, but when the news came out that it was so aggressive, the market interpreted that as okay, these guys are serious. They're very confident around about the euro, and hence the market, the risk appetite towards the euro changed, and the market came back and they bought euros. So that's what actually happened. Okay, very difficult to make that decision in split seconds or split minutes. So trading news is always one of those really crazy things. But as long as you understand what's happening, I have not traded news for years, but I'm always aware when they come out, and I'm happy to let my trades ride through news because I know that I need that for my trades to play out or to not play out. Okay, but there you go. That's what happened. Now, this week we have a heavy week. We have four central banks making monetary policy meetings, namely the Bank of England, Bank of Japan, the Fed Reserve, and the Swiss bank. Now, the Swiss pair is a pair that I dropped off our list, and I don't really look at it that much, but nevertheless, anybody trading Swiss, a Swiss pair, they have their meeting this week as well. So let's have a look. Where are they? What's the impact, and how can it all play out? The first one on the agenda is the Japanese monetary meetings. Now, we already know that a few things happened of not last week but the week before with the Bank of Japan, and in essence it's the Japanese yen pairs have been moving significantly. Okay, now what in essence has been, I guess, a change of mood last week as well, which was, I don't know if you remember, but the Bank of New Zealand, the Reserve Bank of New Zealand, also cut rates along with the ECB. And is that the question that everybody's asking themselves now? Is that the trend? Will the BOJ, the Bank of England, and the Swissy, etc., will they follow suit? Okay, nobody thinks that the Bank of Japan will go, at least not now, but out of all of them, this is the one that I would say is the most unpredictable. Okay, I been a long time trader of the euro yen, so I've learnt that with the yen, expect anything and at any time. So keep that one on your agenda. So that's for tomorrow. And the funny thing about it is that they don't have a set time. You could get something released at 11 a.m. Sydney time. It could be at 3 p.m. So if you're in a trade yen related and there is a significant uh, difference in the stance in their policy, we will see that yen all yen pairs move very, very quickly. Okay. In terms of raw, the other one is, where is it? Here we go. This is the major one, the FOMC statement. Now, in essence, lots of data that has come out just recently has been very positive for the US economy, and all of a sudden now the interest rates rising again is right back on the table. Now, nobody thinks that it's going to happen this week. Okay, so what we're really looking for this week is the tone of of the message that it will be delivered, and any key words indicating any kind of time frame. They are, what most analysts believe is that there's about a 50% chance of a rise by June, July time, and towards the end of the year, there's about a 70% chance that they will increase rates. So that all of a sudden makes people or investors and traders feel a lot more positive towards the US dollar. So we could see a shift back. The US dollar has lost a lot of ground against a lot of currencies, particularly our Aussie dollar. As we've seen rallies, we're back over 75. So the mood of this statement is the one that we are definitely looking for to see how it will affect the market. Okay, Bank of England is the third bank that is producing monetary policy statements. They've had a really, really bad run. Will they follow suit in terms of easing rates and things of that nature, increasing or introducing stimulus packages? I don't know. Okay, this one's a 50-50. If out of all of them, this one is probably the one that could do something more than the others. This is the most unpredictable one up here. Okay. Now, on other news, Aussie front, we have our unemployment numbers on Thursday. We have GBP, the unemployment numbers as well there, and US retail sales. These are the highlights for the week in terms of news. Which one is going to be the most volatile this week? I think anything US pair related, possibly the US yen. Okay, so there you have it. So the one, I guess, that's probably going to be under the most stress is probably the US JPY, and closely followed by the GBP USD. All right, there you have it. Let's bring our charts and let's see how things are playing up. We'll start off with the Aussie dollar. Okay, Aussie dollar. Who's still on that trade? Now, I spoke to a few people over the coming week, and the nature of the conversation was trade what you see. A few people giving me their opinions on they think that, has the Aussie dollar gone high enough? I don't know. But if we trade what we see, when we were over here last week and I said who went long, and there wasn't many people who were long on Aussie dollar, and then I said, well, this is what you can roughly expect as a profit target, and if you have a look at that, we are right there. So this converging triangle has played out. Okay, so the trade is completely gone. So let me erase it from our charts and let's see if we can see anything. So just purely based on what we've said, can I just get a sentiment? If someone said you have to trade Aussie dollar right now, would you buy or would you sell? Everybody, please participate. B for buy or S for sell. You can't sit on the fence. Very, very interesting. I'm going to call it slightly more buyers than sellers. Okay, and everybody that said sell is probably because we kind of feel, oh, it's gone high enough. Why not sell it? All right. I would love to sell it, but I don't have a reason to sell it. So selling just because we feel it's gone high enough. All the people that felt high enough, they sold here at 75, okay, and they got a little bit of a pullback. This is the market psychology saying, oh, it's gone high enough. Surely it's got to come back. Surely it's got to come back, and the real strength comes in and crunches it further. We're at 75.90 right now, so we're about to touch 76. Okay, so let me analyze this. Give me 1 second. Uptrend or downtrend? Okay, great. Everybody got that correct. We are in an uptrend. Excellent. So that means we've taken out this level here was critical. This area critical, and we've taken it out, and we've more than taken it out. So if we're looking for buying opportunities, then what we're looking for is we're looking for a pullback into this zone over here, and then we're looking to see if we get a price action confirmation type trade. That's what we're looking for. I have no reason to sell. So if I'm not in a trade right now, it's the value is too expensive to buy right now. Remember, look at this distance between the moving averages and the current price is very, very far away. So I wouldn't buy right now. I only asked the question just to see what your sentiment was on the Aussie dollar. Okay. So what we're going to do, this is one. Unfortunately, some of the moves that happened last week has spoiled a lot of the patterns for us. But right now, on this particular one right now, we have to wait. And what we're going to wait for is we're going to look for some kind of a pullback in there before we can hit the trade forward. All right, let me just check one last thing. 1 second. So even on a weekly chart, we have broken out of that region, okay? Which signals the start of a trend in the other direction. Now, I don't know if it's going to continue or not, but we have to assume that it will. So then let's look for that pullback. So Aussie dollar, let's just hang tight, wait for a setup. Let's move on. Euro USD. Okay, there's the Euro USD. This is the candle in question. This was the ECB announcement, shot down and then shot up. Okay, it all happened very, very quickly. Um, that was on Thursday. It kind of spoilt the chart in a way because I can't really see anything out of this now. Couldn't even get a flag out of it or anything at all. This is a real bad one. I can't. This is a difficult setup to try and find. Um, so let's Euro USD. Let's just wait for it to settle down. If I went on instincts, I get the feeling we might get another inside candle. Oops, sorry, I didn't draw that very good. So I get the feeling we might get another inside. So we get 3 inside candles in a row. And if we do that, then maybe on a 4-hour chart, I could get a little bit of a compression. And because of the tail of the market, I would be happy to trade it out in both directions. But it's not there yet. I would need to wait for another day. Let's see, if you look at it on a 4-hour chart, you can see that it might start to form. You might start to get this compression happening in here. This is just pure experience of trading the markets. So it hasn't happened yet, but if I see that this comes down, hits somewhere in here and then starts to shoot back up, then I've got the confirmation on it, and then I would be looking for the trade. Okay, and I've stepped into a 4 hour chart over here to find this trade, but it's not set in any case. So I was really looking through my charts vigorously leading up to the class today because there's not much available. Okay, so Euro USD, even if you can see it on a daily chart, it doesn't look as good. On a 4 hour chart, you can see that I might have to adjust this line a little bit depending on where we drop down to, but this is the next best thing that I can see. Okay, all right, GBP USD. Okay, GBP USD, I've got something. Who likes that? What do we think of this pattern? Does it look like a legitimate channel, parallel lines? Okay, so it looks pretty good. And the only thing that's going to spoil it for us is this current candle is at this level. As long as it doesn't get bigger than that level, and ideally, if it just starts to come back down today and let's say ends up like this, then I'll have my inside candle and tomorrow I can attempt that trade down. So we have a legitimate trade here. The other thing as well, it's in a downtrend, but remember what we said, when we're channel trading, the channel to me has higher probability than the trend itself. Okay, so this would be considered a channel trade. So what we have to do with this one is simply wait till tomorrow. Unfortunately, if this one goes out there, the channel trade is off the table, but could I trade such a candle? Yes or no? The answer is yes. We have a fall in or a channel that is going down, which basically means there's three types of trades that I'm allowed to do. I'm allowed to do this trade here. I'm allowed to do that type of trade down there. And I'm allowed to do a break if it's in the opposite direction of the way that the channel is falling. So if you get this candle that I've drawn on my charts there, you could also have the opportunity to become a buyer in the market. Let me zoom out and see what that would look like. So if we get this candle tomorrow, and then what you would do is at the open, you would become a buyer. Okay, where would you place your stop? The most logical place to place it would be just in here, because that's the last dip on that market. Okay, if you find this risk too much for you and it's a type of trade that you find too uncomfortable, all right, and the breakout trade is one that a lot of people find uncomfortable, well then just sit it out. Okay, so two options for us on the GBP. Either way, I think we're going to get a setup. So we either break forward, or if we end up with an inside candles, then we can shoot the trade back down tomorrow. Okay, so there you have it. Question is after the close, if it's the break-in candle and it looks something like that, then as soon as that candle closes and the new one opens, you take the trade straight away. So that would be 9 a.m. my time tomorrow. All right. So all you got to do is look at your charts at 9 a.m. and you'll know how this candle finished up, and then you'll know which direction the trade will be in. Okay, let's move on. Gold. Okay, some of you traded this little, uh, I don't know, it never broke down, but I know that I got an email from someone traded this down. If you did that, it's actually incorrect because, see, we broke up. We broke up before we triggered down. So I can't remember who it was, but somebody emailed about it. So it's actually an incorrect trade, but fortunately it went down for that person and they took out a profit. So that's the breaks sometimes, but it was not a setup. This line that I've got on the chart, if I zoom out, it's still holding. Okay, so let's just keep it there and see what happens. If I break through the line to the other side, I can't trade that, so that's not a trade because this line is sloping upwards. Um, but I'm not getting the opportunities of an inside candle to come back down. So it's kind of like it's a really strange chart, to be honest. This curvature is very unusual. It's like the big bowl kind of. This curvature here is very unusual. I much prefer them a little bit sharper, like these. This one here has got me not interested in the chart, basically. So it's a chart that unless someone put a gun to my head and said, you got to trade this, it's a chart that I don't like at all right now. But if I had to trade it, I would be looking for an inside candle to try and trade in the downward direction off that resistance line. I still haven't even got that, so at the moment this is a sit and wait situation on gold. Let's move on. US yen. Okay, US yen. We took a trade last week, US yen, and I have to say I don't know why, but I closed out, and I was fortunate. I closed out at a profit. This was the candle setup that we traded. Okay, we traded it in this direction. We caught the trade late, so I believe we entered around about there somewhere. Stop was there, and I think it hit target about that level there. Did anybody else trade it with me? I'm just going to show of hands. Okay, quite a few of you. Well done. Excellent. All right, so we took that one live. Now, what I've noticed after what happened on Thursday, we got that recovery, and I've noticed that we've just started to get into this kind of, it looks really good zoomed out, starting to get into this converged um, triangle, almost flag patternish uh, for a breakdown. So it's not quite a flagpole, but it's kind of like a flagpole. Okay, it's a daily chart, so this would suggest a massive breakdown. So let's not even think about the fundamentals that have to occur for that to happen, because then that just throws out the psychology. Like when I think about it, my head's saying there's no way that this can happen, but I don't want my head to get involved with what the pattern looks like. The pattern looks like if it breaks down, it will explode down. That's what the pattern says, so that's what I have to trust. So let's look out for it. Okay. With a flag pattern, you can actually get in a tight spot. So if we were to get a candle that did this, for example, and close there, then you could enter straight away. You can place your stop just above there. Okay, so we can do it that way. Important to note, this trading it in this direction is not really a flag. If you trade it in this direction, it's more like a converging um, triangle. But to be honest, the way that you trade a converging triangle, it's got to come up from one direction, compress, and continue. That's the way that you trade it. So it's not really about trading it down, compress, and then go back up. Now, I'm not saying that that can't happen, but that's the lower probability trade. So what I would be looking for is I'm looking for a breakdown. Okay. Romy's saying it's also in between the moving averages, so it could go down. Okay, so Romy's saying we're in a downtrend, okay? It's pulled back into the moving averages, into that spot where we like to hit it down. Yes, that is correct. However, normally that should have happened off there. That should have happened off that trade there. And incidentally, if anybody did take this trade, you should technically still be in if you didn't close out over here somewhere. Okay, so I just noticed that. But this one now, the focus is changing. I'm not trading the downtrend. What I'm actually trading would be this flag compression break type trade. All right, so I'm going to look out for this one. If I see it, I will post it out. I haven't posted anything for a while on my Twitter account. Apologies for that. I have been quite actually super busy. I'm trying really hard to just be able to do these classes, but I will try to be a little bit more active. So if you don't follow me, just join me at Chat FX. This is a trade that I don't want to miss out on. Okay, so if I see it, I will post it so that you guys can see it live as well. All right, so that's all I got. US yen. Let's have a look at the euro yen. Okay, euro yen. I Who took this trade? I took this one as well on Wednesday. Remember we called it out. We said let's wait and see if we get the setup. We got the trade. We got the setup. We got the breakdown. I have to admit, I got it a little bit late. I don't remember why, but I got it a little bit late. And something, when we dropped down there, something made me close out. So I'll put my hand up and I closed out. I did get a profit, okay, but I did not close out correctly. My psychology, something affected me and I closed out the trade and I got lucky because then it shot against me. All right, so because when I measured this out, even if you got in here, the stop is 134. The trade only got forward 100 and about 120. So I was very close to one, and I just closed out. Okay, so that's my psychological deficiency there. Did anybody else take the trade and make a profit on the trade? Can I just get a show of hands? Okay, all right. And for the ones that got stopped out, well, in fairness, you actually took the trade better than I did because you would have got stopped out there. Unfortunately, this this point here, the lowest point, got very, very close to the 1-to-1 point. I think it got to about point 0.9 to 1. Okay. And I just happened to have been in front of the screen at that time, and I just said, you know what, this is close enough, and I got out. I broke one of my rules. All right. So all I'm trying to point out here is that we're all human at the end of the day, and I'm just acknowledging that even though I got a profit, this is one of the worst things about trading, that sometimes you get rewarded for bad behavior. It wasn't super bad behavior, but you, at the end of the day, your strategy doesn't give you the necessary results if you keep cutting them short. All right, so anyway, I'll move on. What are we looking for now? Okay, what would we do? Are we still in? Would it be fair to look for another inside candle over here and hit it down again? Would that be legitimate? Okay, so most of you, I don't know, like I think, let's check the Fibonacci level. Let's check how far back have we retraced. All right, let me check and then we'll make a decision. Give me a second. So I've pulled back. Right now I'm at the 50%, 50% pullback. Okay. Um, so, and the moving averages are still not crossed back over. So I think generally these two moving averages will start to touch at around about the 61. All right, so I guess based on our own rules, and if our own rules said um, the moving averages have to be indicate downward direction, at the moment the moving averages still indicate downward direction. I don't think today's candle is going to be a little baby candle like this. If it is, then tomorrow you can hit the trade down. Okay. I just think that this candle is going to spoil everything for us and we're not even going to get the setup. However, if I do get the setup, if I get an inside candle off these two tomorrow, I will be short Euro Yen if I get the setup. Okay? So does that answer any queries for anybody on that one? Are we all clear on our Euro Yen strategy? We're looking for, still looking for an inside candle to be sellers tomorrow. Okay, we'll move on. Kiwi dollar. Okay, I was trying to draw parallel lines. We never got up to that level up there, unfortunately. Even though there was a good inside candle there, there was really no reason to be sellers at that point because you're kind of trading against the trend. And the only reason I would have wanted to be a seller is if I got the opportunity to trade off the channel, which I did not. Okay, so the answer is not. It shot back down, and again, it hasn't given me an entry, so it's kind of teasing at the moment, the Kiwi dollar, and I really feel like I just want to apply a ranging type strategy on the Kiwi dollar. So give me 1 second. Let me just check a couple of things. Okay, what I'm looking for is when I see a market with a lot of candles with long wicks. Okay, see how there's a lot of wicks here throughout this whole region. It's basically a noisy market. When you get a noisy market, you can often, it's the best market to apply like compression or ranging type strategy. So what you're trying to do is you try and get a level, and every time we come to the level, we buy. We come to the level, we sell. So that's what we're looking for. This chart looks very much like it's very um, noisy, and usually a strategy like the one that I showed last week, which is the fishing strip, is a strategy that you can use to take advantage of such a market. Okay, unfortunately I can't really see any pickup trades on that, so I'll just change back my profile to what I was at, and look, all I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this bottom line because I believe that that level is good, and look, I could even draw this one in now. It's not the best line, to be honest. The reason I don't like this line is because we had a significant high to coming back towards this line, and then we go up to there. So I'll get rid of that top one, and let me just change it because I could be getting a rising wedge here. Okay, this I like. Okay, we've traded rising wedges before. Okay, so I like this one. So what I'm interested in is here. There's enough room. I'm interested in there, and I'm interested in there. Okay. All right, so that's all I got, Kiwi Dollar. Let's move on to the next one. Euro Aussie. Okay, Euro Aussie. Here's something for you guys. This candle here has got a fractal at the top and a fractal at the bottom. So it's a double fractal candle. I usually avoid using a double fractal candle for my price action analysis because it generally signifies that the market went high, made a new high, and then went back down, made a new low, and our trading region just got larger rather than smaller. So it's a candle that I don't like. Otherwise, in theory, this would be, I would have an inside candle situation and I could be a seller right now. I'm not interested in that trade, but I just wanted to highlight that for you. We got very close to this bottom, so I could have had a reason to try and buy, even though it didn't trigger, because especially now that we've just broken down. Um, but this chart right now is just untradeable. I just got nothing on it. Question being asked, what about the inside bodies? It's still, so the question's been asked about these, the bodies of those. It's a double fractal candle, so I'm just going to rule it out. All right, it's one of the things that it's in my trading plan. I don't trade a candle, or well, I don't use a candle with double fractals for my price action analysis. It's kind of like usually when it happens, it means the market is unsure of what's going on. So when you get a double fractal candle, it's gone really high and really low to make new highs and new lows, and it's very obvious that the next candle is almost always got to be an inside candle. All right, so therefore the setup is not unique like, like what I'm looking for. Okay, so Euro Aussie this week, we're just going to have to sit it out. There's nothing there for us. Okay, that's what I normally cover. So we, after Thursday's class, here's the Aussie index. Here's the 200. So I've introduced it to one of the pairs that I will look, or not pairs, or one of the instruments that I will look at. So here it is. Let's have a look. It's pretty smooth looking, to be honest. It's give me one moment. I'm just massaging it, see if I can make it work. How does that look, guys? What do we think? Can everybody see what I'm trying to get out of this? What I'm seeing? I'm trying to see a bounce. So it's two. Do we like this channel? It's not the smoothest, but it's a channel nevertheless. Who would trade this channel? What do we feel? Is this channel tradable? Okay, I've got one yes. What do we think? What does everybody else think? 3, 4, 5, 6 yeses. Okay, so if this is tradable, we're just about there. Like I could move this. I could squeeze it in. I could bring that line a little bit about there. I think that's about as good as I can get it. So that would mean that we're very close to an inside candle setup. We could get the little, so what we would looking for is tomorrow you would have the fractal there, and if this finished up like that, then at the break we could be sellers. Okay, so it would be considered a channel trade, even though this part here looks like we're in uptrend right now. But a channel trade is a higher probability than a trend-based trade, so I would consider that one if it's set up more so as a seller than a buyer. Okay, so that one looks pretty good. So let's we need to wait till tomorrow when the market opens to see what this particular candle ends up looking like, and then we've got an opportunity to place our trades. Okay, so let me go back. Let me summarize. What have we got? Aussie dollar. We're way out of the money. We need to wait for a pullback. Euro USD. I can see on a 4 hour that we could get a potential converging trading range, so we could get a breakout opportunity. GBP USD, we're in a channel. Hopefully we get an inside candle and get an opportunity to trade it back down. Gold, it's not a very pretty chart, but that resistance level is still holding. US yen, we've got a daily potential flag-like compression, so what ideally we want is a breakdown. Euro yen, let's see if we can get that inside candle, and we would still be sellers if we get it. Kiwi dollar, a rising wedge, halfway through the wedge, so we've got to wait that one out. Euro Aussie, nothing on the table. ASX 200, let's hope we get that inside candle for a trade back down the channel. So potentially we could get 3 to 4 setups tomorrow. At the moment we got nothing, but tomorrow we could have 3 to 4 setups. So that's all that I have for you. Does anybody have any questions? I've got a bit of time, more than happy to answer any questions off topic, whatever they may be. Just type it in and let me see if I can address that for you. While I do that, I just want to have a quick look at oil. I did say I was going to look at oil, so give me one moment. Oil, oh, it's not looking very good. Okay, oil, let's just leave it alone. Okay, any other questions? Anybody? How do you get a gap between the last candle and the x-axis? Do you mean, oh, x-axis is this one here. Which, do you mean this gap here? Or you want that chart to be higher? Okay, this side in here. Is that correct, Paul? Okay, very easy. I'll show you. So the question is, how do I get a gap? And the answer is pretty simple. See this little triangle up here? It's a little tiny triangle. If you click it and drag it, or I can click it all the way over here, and I can have my chart with a bigger gap. Okay? So there is a limit in how much I can set it, but there you have it. Oh, you don't have a triangle? Let's see if there's something in properties. Send me a screenshot, Paul. Send me a screenshot of what you can actually see, and I'll fix it for you. Any other questions? In the toolbar, there's a button to create the gap. Okay. I know how to do it. I just don't know how to do it right now. So send me the screenshot, Paul, and I'll fix it up. Thanks, Alan, for that tip. Okay, if there's no other questions, we'll wrap up today. I'll see you on Thursday, 3:30 usual time. We'll have a look at something, I don't know what yet, but we'll keep in the theme of range in markets. Let's see what's available. Um, Keep an eye out on or on any Twitter messages that I send out. I'm going to try and start to get a little bit more active. If I see any of those setups, I'll make sure that I send them out. Okay. Other than that, have a great afternoon, and I'll see you all on Thursday. Bye for now.